Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about a movie that will make you hold on to the edge of a chair. It's No One Can Save You. This is a story about struggle, betrayal, and survival, where every minute is filled with tension. We will break down the film into 5 sections so that you can fully immerse yourself in its atmosphere. I'll also tell you which moments from the movie should be inserted to make it even more interesting for you. Let's go. The film begins with the quiet life of the main character, Eliza, in a small provincial town. She works as a librarian and tries to live inconspicuously, hiding from her past. Suddenly, a mysterious stranger arrives in the city who begins to follow her. Eliza realizes that her past has caught up with her, and she can no longer hide. Gradually, she begins to notice that she is being watched, and this causes her anxiety. She tries to ignore the threats, but events are starting to spiral out of control. Her neighbor, an elderly man named Ivan, becomes her only ally. Together, they try to figure out who this stranger is and what he wants. Eliza begins to recall events from her past that she has been trying to forget for a long time. The film sets the tone for a tense drama where every step of the heroine is a struggle for survival. Eliza is a strong but traumatized woman who is trying to start a new life. Her past is connected with the criminal world, from which she escaped many years ago. The stranger, played by a famous actor, is a man from her past who wants revenge. Ivan, Eliza's neighbor, is a former military man who becomes her mentor and protector. He knows how to survive in difficult situations and is ready to help Eliza. Minor characters such as a local policeman add depth to the plot. The policeman, initially skeptical of Eliza, gradually begins to believe her. Each character in the film has their own motivation, which makes their interactions more complex. Eliza is forced to trust people, even though her past has taught her not to trust anyone. This creates tension and drama that keep the viewer on their toes. A stranger begins stalking Eliza, leaving threatening messages at her house. She feels that he is always one step ahead and knows more about her than she could have imagined. She tries to contact the police, but there is not enough evidence to start an investigation. The police don't take her seriously, and that adds to her sense of hopelessness. Ivan suggests that she temporarily move in with him to be safe. The stranger begins to act more aggressively, breaking into her house and leaving traces of his presence. Eliza realizes that she can no longer rely on others and must protect herself. She decides to take control of the situation and prepares to confront the stranger. Eliza begins to recall the events that led her to this moment. She realizes that the stranger is a former accomplice who wants to avenge her betrayal. Ivan, despite the shock, decides to help her, as he sees in her a strong man who deserves a second chance. Together, they begin to prepare for the inevitable confrontation. Eliza begins to collect information about the stranger, studying his habits and habits. She finds old photos and documents that help her figure out who he is. During the investigation, Eliza begins to realize that her past is not so easy to leave behind. She also understands that a stranger can threaten not only her, but everyone she cares about. This realization gives her strength, but also increases her fear. Eliza and Ivan develop a plan to lure the stranger into a trap. They decide to use an old abandoned factory as a place for the final showdown. Eliza leaves false footprints so that a stranger will believe that she is hiding there. Ivan insists on being by her side, but Eliza convinces him that she has to do it herself. Eliza promises to come back, but there is determination in her eyes. She knows that this is her only chance. Together, they gather the necessary equipment and weapons to be ready for the meeting. Eliza prepares mentally, realizing that this will be her last fight. She begins to realize that despite her fear, she must fight for her life. The stranger falls into a trap, but it turns out that he has prepared for it. Eliza and the stranger engage in an intense battle where each of them is fighting for his life. Eliza uses all the skills she has acquired to protect herself. The stranger is trying to manipulate her fears by reminding her of her past. However, Eliza finds the strength to resist him. At the climax, she gains the upper hand, but instead of killing him, decides to let him live. This decision becomes a symbol of her inner strength and willingness to start a new life. After the final fight, Eliza feels that she has finally freed herself from her past. She decides to leave the city and start a new life elsewhere. Eliza says goodbye to Ivan, who has become an important support for her. They hug, and Eliza promises to come back when she's ready. This farewell is filled with hope, and determination is visible in the eyes of both. Eliza leaves with hope in her heart, realizing that her past no longer determines her future. She starts doing what she really enjoys, writing books. It becomes a way for her to express her feelings and experiences. Eliza begins a new chapter of her life in another city where she finds work and meets new people. She tries not to think about the past, but sometimes the memories still haunt her. Eliza starts dating other people who help her cope with her fears. She realizes that although her past cannot be erased, she can control her future. Eliza decides to use her experiences to help others who are facing similar difficulties. She starts blogging, sharing her story, and inspiring others. In the end, Eliza finds the strength to live a full life despite her fears. The film No One Can Save You is not only a thriller, but also a deep drama about overcoming and self-discovery. It shows how important it is to have the courage to face your past and move forward despite fears and obstacles. Eliza, the main character, demonstrates that even in the darkest circumstances, one can find light and hope. Her struggle with a stranger becomes a metaphor for the inner struggle that many of us have in our lives. The film also raises important themes of trust, friendship, and support. With Ivan's help, Eliza finds strength in herself that she hadn't realized before, and this highlights how important it is to have people who are ready to support her in difficult times. Ultimately, Eliza's story is a story about how you can start over, even if the past has left deep scars. Each of us can become stronger if we learn to accept our fears and use them as motivation for growth. If you're looking for a movie that will make you relive every minute, No One Can Save You is exactly what you need. It combines elements of thriller and drama, leaving the viewer in suspense until the very end. This film is not only entertaining, but also makes you think about the importance of fighting for your life and happiness. We all face difficulties, and sometimes it seems that there is no way out. However, Eliza's story reminds us that even in the most hopeless situations, you can find the strength to fight. Each of us can become the hero of our story if we just believe in ourselves and don't give up. The film also highlights the importance of support from other people. Mutual help and friendship can be powerful tools in dealing with difficulties. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about your opinion of the film.